glad to have with us on the program right now Mr. Ed Worley, NRA ILA's California State Liaison. Ed, how are you, sir?
Hey, doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're very well. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate you coming on the program here. We've got we've got some new laws going into effect regarding handgun ammunition, right?
Yeah. This is a bill left over from 2009. If everybody remembers, we stopped every single firearms anti-gun bill in the state legislature in 2010. So this bill is a leftover from 2009. It's AB 962, and it goes into effect on February 1st.
Okay, so unlike a lot of states, a lot of new laws are going to go into effect here in just a few days on January 1st. There's going to be a month delay. What does this law actually do, Ed, and what are gun owners required to do?
Well, the law requires you to, when you go purchase handgun ammunition from licensed dealers, you're supposed to register like you used to do with the old 1968 Gun Control Act. And you're required to give a thumbprint. Remember, you and I discussed this bill quite a bit when it was going through.
Yes.
And at one point, it banned the private transfer or sale of ammunition between citizens. All those provisions were knocked out in the late hours of the Senate session, and that's what they had to do to get the bill out of the Senate. So now it only applies to persons buying handgun ammunition, whatever that definition will be, from the licensed dealers in the state of California. So you'd have to go in when you buy the ammunition, you have to register, you give your name, address, phone number, and a thumbprint. But people need to remember it doesn't apply to the private party transfer of ammunition between private citizens. And it doesn't apply if you go out of state and buy ammunition and bring it back in with you. It doesn't apply.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody needs to remember that we have a lawsuit, NRA and our state affiliate CRPA. We have a lawsuit that has been filed and will be heard on January 18th. Chuck Michelle is handling that lawsuit. And our goal is, in our lawsuit, is to stop the law from being implemented on February 1st. So we're working very hard right now. We've been doing all kinds of the legal work behind the scenes. We've been doing the depositions of the Department of Justice staff. I was talking with some gun dealers today. And the problem with this is they say ammunition primarily used in handguns. Well, a lot of people know that there's some handgun ammunition. Like, what do you do with 22 long rifle?
Yeah.
Is that handgun ammunition or is it rifle ammunition? You use it both rifles and handguns.
Mm-hmm.
45 long Colt. Cowboy shooters know that's you use it in your pistol and you use it in your rifle. So these are some of the questions we've asked, and there's also interstate commerce problems with the bill. Because, for instance, if I wanted to go to Free America in Nevada, up here in Reno,
right,
3 hours away, I could call over there, buy some handgun ammunition, and say, I'll be over there in 3 hours to pick it up, pay for it with my credit card on the phone, drive over there, pick up the ammunition, drive it back into California, and it's totally legal. But I could not buy the same ammunition from Cabela's through their catalog and have it shipped through an interstate transportation company. So there's a whole myriad of problems, legal problems with the law, and Chuck Michelle's on top of it. He's working with our legal staff in headquarters, and there's going to be a lawsuit. It's going to be heard on January 18th. So everybody just keep their ear to the ground. If you remember right, this is a bill that we had a repeal bill put in days after the governor signed it. Schwarzenegger signed it. We had a repeal bill put in. We had 70,000 signatures and petitions to get the bill repealed.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the bills we've been working on for the whole year and getting it repealed and doing all the legal work behind the scenes. So that's where we're going to be here in February 1st.
Okay, so on January 18th, that court hearing, I'm guessing then that Chuck Michelle will ask for an injunction to prevent this law from going into effect?
Yes, because one of the problems has been, is talking to some dealers and other parties, is that the California Department of Justice hasn't told them how to do the law. What information is required? What do you do it electronically? Do you do it on postcards? Do you do it on a back of an envelope? Where do you do it? So that's part of the problem with the law. There's interstate commerce issues with the law. So there's a whole myriad of things. And on January 18th, we're going to be asking for the law to be postponed until all this legal work can be figured out. and frankly get the law thrown out in court.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck on that. Again, I can't imagine that there are any gun owners in California happy about being treated like a criminal and being, again, this is Ed, it makes my head hurt because I've only been a gun owner in Oklahoma and Virginia, and I cannot imagine having to go through this. The idea that, this, and look, let's be honest here, Ed. Everybody knows this isn't going to do anything to cut down on crime. The gangbangers aren't going to go and register their ammunition. This is, again, it's about going after the culture of gun ownership and making it harder and harder and more intrusive if you want to be a gun owner.
Well, that's exactly right. It's intimidating people, and the record that they get, there's no way for them to process their records. So if you have a gun store and you have all these records that you've accumulated, there's no requirement for the Department of Justice or any law enforcement agency to come out and look at them. And the problem also is that now you have all this information sitting someplace that can be stolen. For instance, like in California, in some places up in the rural areas, like a lot of places in America, you go to a hardware store to buy ammo, or you go to the general store to buy ammo.
Yeah.
Well, now all those records are going to be sitting there, your name, address, and phone number, and your thumbprint. Talk about identity theft issues and problems. So these small mom-and-pop shops up in the rural areas, they're not going to have all these records you have to keep track of and have to have the security of. And the problem is that they cannot link your purchase with any specific caliber of firearm or anything they're going to try to do. So what? I bought a box of 45 ACP up in Williams 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't help you with anything because we fought this law in the city of Pasadena about 10 years ago. As I pointed out to the police chief, I said, does that mean if somebody commits a crime with 9mm, that everybody who's bought 9mm ammunition is now a suspect? And he goes, yes, that's right.
Oh my Lord.
And we had a gentleman here in Sacramento County who owned a 357 SIG, sort of a esoteric cartridge in some ways.
Yeah.
And they found one of those SIG cases at a crime scene. This gentleman's at work. He comes home, and there's a business card from a Sacramento city homicide detective, and his door says, call me immediately. Well, this gentleman goes, oh, my God, something happened to my family. What happened? Well, he called them, and because Sacramento had been doing the ammunition registration records, they said, well, you are now a suspect in a homicide because your gun caliber was used in the homicide. We want you to turn your gun in for ballistics. We want you to surrender your gun, and we're going to come out and sit down and talk with you. So immediately, he became a suspect in a crime, and his only crime was he had the same caliber firearm as some criminal who'd committed a crime.
That's like saying, all right, we saw there was a drive-by that was committed in South Central Los Angeles last night. They were driving a Ford Taurus. Everybody in L.A. who drives a Ford Taurus is now suspected or is a suspect in this crime.
Well, exactly right. And it's already illegal in California for criminals to buy ammunition. It's already illegal in California for criminals to possess ammunition. It's already illegal in California for a person to give a known criminal ammunition. That's already in the law. But what it is that you had someone dealing on at the time, and he wanted to move it the political food chain, and this was his bill to try to do it. If you remember, we stopped this. We had to still stop in the Senate. And we came very close to stopping it totally in the Senate. And the last night, he gutted the bill out in the Senate, took all kinds of provisions out of the bill, and got it through by one vote. So the good news is the bill was drastically reduced from where it started. The bad news is they got it out. The governor signed it. Schwarzenegger signed it.
Yeah.
But now we're going to be in court, and talking to Chuck Michel and working closely with him, I think we have a fairly good chance of stopping the implementation of the law. But the problem is going to be for retailers in California, firearms retailers, is a lot of people are not going to know this is coming up. If we don't stop the law from being implemented, people are going to walk into the gun shop and say, hey, I'm buying some ammo. And they're going to say, okay, you got to fill this out. A lot of people are just going to throw up their hands and go, I'm not filling this out. I'll go to the Reno gun show, or I'll go to the Vegas gun show, or I'll go, out of state and buy it. So, like you said, it's just another impediment to try to stop lawful persons from buying ammunition, using ammunition.
Yeah.
It's another invasion of our privacy, just like they're trying to do in all kinds of other places.
Well, Ed, I appreciate you coming on the program, sir, and I know we'll be talking again in the weeks to come about this issue. In the meantime, have a happy new year, and we'll talk to you in 2011.
Absolutely. We've got to talk about where we're introducing all of our gun bills again, our pro-gun bills, right to carry, our 11 bills we did last year. We're reintroducing them again for 2011, so we're going to go after them again this year and be very proactive and very aggressive in trying to get good gun laws passed in California. So we'll talk to you next year.
All right. I look forward to that, Ed. Thanks again for coming on the program tonight, sir.